Yeah, singing the lyrics can get to me sometimes. A day by day song is pretty brutally honest, you know. Could be the one I never had or wind up dead like my old man, you know. Opening the song like that is like, huh, if I think about it when I'm singing, I'm like, yikes.
Tim Montana, the guy, so great they named the state after him. I'm sure you're not tired of, last name jokes. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm better than I deserve. You didn't reference Hannah Montana. That's a bonus. I used to party like Tony Montana, but yeah.
There you go. Hey, I feel you, man. Like, my last name is the man, and that's a lifetime of jokes as well at your expense. So I feel you. I feel you. So, even though you're, on your rocking chair, you're relaxing, it's been quite the roller coaster for you. You're kind of like this overnight sensation, 17 years in the making. How does it feel going through all these motions, being, working on this for so long, and then finally, everything starts to seem to accelerate to not just 1, 2, but 3 levels up?
My back hurts. We've been doing this a long time, driving around circles around the country or North America for, I was in Nashville for 17, 18 years. Moved to Montana, toured with a ton of people, got a ton of experience. And then the minute I decided to move to remote Montana is the minute they put me on the radio and shit started popping. So it's pretty wild. I don't know that I would have moved here had I known what was coming, but I'm glad I did. It's my bed. I made it. And by God, I'll sleep in it for an hour a night.
There you go. There you go. So the lesson is, don't visit Nashville, but don't stay there for 17 years. That's too much.
Yeah. No, I learned a ton from the songwriting community. I'll give them that. Yeah. I learned how to write songs, and some of the best songwriters on planet Earth live in Nashville. So I learned a ton from those guys and girls. So it was good.
You are letting yourself come out a little bit more now that you're no longer in Nashville. You are embracing more those rock roots, and all of a sudden there are PR teams and radio stations that would have never talked to you before because you had the label country slapped there somewhere. Now all of a sudden they are talking to you, and a good example of that is I usually interview heavy metal bands from the most extreme to radio friendly. But this is my first introduction to you as well, and there's a whole new world of people that are being introduced to your music. How have you experienced the embrace of this, broader rock, but a hard rock and heavy metal community that is discovering this formerly known country guy?
Yeah, it's interesting, and people are always like, "Oh, you went from country to rock." And to clarify, country never let me in. I was, beating a dead horse. I was always too loud, too rock. My hair's too long. I cuss too much on the mic. So when I turned in the rock record, that's always been in me. I just didn't really have a lane there that I knew of to strike with. And when we did Devil You Know, that was kind of my exit out of Nashville, and I didn't know I was going to get on the radio. That was my little middle finger as I'm moving back to Montana, not knowing what was going to come with rock radio. But the embracement and how the rock world is so nice. It's so nice, man. In the country space, they're like constantly pick you apart and just like, if you're not this, then you're nothing, right? And it's so refreshing. It's creative freedom. I can write songs how I want to write them, about what I want to write. I can, God forbid, I can play guitar on my own records.
Right.
The rock space is complete freedom and some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So I'm so honored and proud to be embraced by the community, and the scary guys with neck tattoos are actually really friendly guys.
Now that you've seen, because it's interesting, you didn't write this album to be accepted or to have this whole journey, but now that this is happening, does that mean that you're already working inside and overtime on what's next, the direction that you're going to continue to go? Are you going to double down on this? Like, what should we expect?
Yeah, I just had my producer up here to Wise River, and we just wrote 4 new bangers. We wrote a song that the chorus is "Burn, burn, let the motherfucker burn," and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, not Nashville. Just, yeah, exactly. Awesome.
So
Awesome. Awesome.
I do go hard. You know, now I just have this freedom and I can get all this shit off my chest. And, you know, there was never really a safe way for me to speak about child abuse and substance abuse in the Nashville format. Now I found where I can be very open and vulnerable. You have something very rare about to happen in front of me. They're doing a cattle drive right on the highway, right in front of me. So I'm,
wow.
a second, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you some.
Go for it. All right. Well, if they become, you know, if all of a sudden they become much bigger on the screen, meaning they're coming right at you, please move.
Yeah. And those are bulls too. Look at the nuts on that thing. Jesus.
Now, this drastic change might happen yet again as the music that you're making now, you know, there's no denying how popular more Nashville-friendly music is, let's call it, in the States. And to some extent, Canada. But the global appeal of that is somewhat limited. And then compared to rock, because I'm originally from Europe, I grew up in Belgium, you know, country was never a thing. And country in the broadest, you know, sense of the words. But the rock you're making now absolutely is. And people in Europe probably have never heard of Tim Montana either. This music can do really well in all over the world. Like we've seen, you know, bands that clearly have influenced you, from the Stains, the Creeds, the Godsmacks, the Foo Fighters, the Alice in Chains. You know, they all did really well all over the world and have a strong following today still in Europe. There will be more interest in your music now as well, and those people, they don't know you, so you kind of have to start again from square one. Is that something that excites you, or is that something that's a little scary at this point after 17 years?
No, it's exciting because there's a path, right? There's a strategy. We have a clear, defined road we're going down, and I've been accepted very quick by this community. And, you know, going out with Stained and Seether and Saint Asonia, and then I go out with Bush and Jerry Cantrell and Candlebox, and then I have more tours to announce that I'm just like, no way, these guys are having me out. And some of these rock stars are seeking me out because they know the Devil You Know song, and then they dive into me a little bit, and they're like, oh, this guy's a character, right? He's, you know, not a run of the barrel, you know, guy. So it excites me because, again, the global thing, I've toured the U.S. so much, I just want to go overseas so bad. Yeah. And I'm actually flying to France just to visit with my wife next week. So we're going to France and Italy.
Oh, wonderful.
So I love Europe. So I hope my music pops over there because I'm just like, oh, I want to go tour over there. Yeah, it's really, really exciting time.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, the album, you mentioned Devil You Know a couple of times, obviously, it makes sense. And we get that at the start of the album as well. And the first half is kind of feels like a nonstop punch in the face. It changes a little bit with Right Again. That's the first break that we get, a little bit different. It makes it feel automatically also a bit of an important song because it's all of a sudden somewhat different. Can you help me understand that song a little bit better?
Yeah, you know, to me, that's kind of a Foo Fighters break in the record. You know, they had Everlong in the midst of all the rock and roll and stuff. And the funny part of that song is I'm writing these guitar licks and recording these guitar licks that are extremely hard to play live. Doing that little guitar line, that's me on the guitar, and then singing that. But I like those breaks in an album. You know, I want to hit them hard from the beginning, go heavy, and then give them a little breather, you know, to hear a softer side. And I think lyrically we crushed that song. And I met Kevin from Candlebox in LA, like happenstance, who I'm touring with end of July on the Bush tour. And he flipped out over that song. And he's like, this is the #1 hit. Oh my gosh, this and that. The lyric, like, he was screaming. And it was so cool to see someone that I grew up listening to his music have that reaction. You know, someone that was just really special. So I've had some people lose their shit over that song. So.
All right, cool. And it also kind of like, it sets up part 2 of the album. And that's, I find, the more adventurous side of the vinyl, if you will. You know, we get some Avenged Sevenfold riffs and Get You Some, and then Alice in Chains makes an appearance. It feels a little bit in Coming Down as well. But there's a whole lot of different things going on. For you, is there a line in the sand? Like, I know you're definitely taking us in different directions. Are there things that you were, with your producer, that you were writing and go like, okay, this is a little too crazy for a Tim Montana album?
No, we swung for the fences. Again, Get You Some is just hardcore, and opening lines of poor white trash from a single wide survivor of the thought of suicide. I mean, it's pretty heavy shit that I went through as a kid, and then Ain't Coming Down. And it's kind of also like pulling the music that's in my head from when I was a kid. Like Ain't Coming Down has a Beastie Boys vibe to me, you know, the kind of hip hop thing, which I do that stuff well. I've learned to do in my live show. I pull off some Tupac, California Love, and I pull off some Eminem in the midst of a little Led Zeppelin. So I love 90s hip hop, I love 90s rock, and I love seeing this resurgence, and I want to put kind of my own spin on the stuff that I grew up addicted to, you know, because that was what I was listening to, grunge and hip hop, and tying that all together. And in writing the new stuff, we've kind of gone down that path a little more. We have some stuff, my buddies, that kind of sounds like Limp Bizkit in '99. And I'm like, yeah, because I can pull that stuff off. I love the cadence. And a lot of that comes from, like, I grew up around auction houses, and I would sit there and study the cadence of auctioneers. 5 now, 10 now, 10 now, 5 now, 5 now, 5 now, 10 now, 15 now, where? And I, like, love dropping that cadence into songs, you know? And I did California Love. Billy Gibbons heard it. And I did a version of LaGrange into California Love, and Billy heard it and flipped out. So at his birthday party at the Troubadour in Hollywood, he asked me to do it. And it was interesting because the band on stage is Matt Sorum and Gilby from Guns N' Roses. You have Robbie Krieger from The Doors, Billy from ZZ Top, the bass player from Earth, Wind & Fire. And these guys flipped out when I started. Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West. And the whole crowd just erupted when I did that. So it's like getting my peers and heroes. I'm like, wow, I'm on stage with The Doors and ZZ Top. It's pretty cool, you know. So
now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West. A state doesn't touch your butt like Elliot Ness. The track hit your eardrum like a...
There are a ton of people already, and this is only going to grow as more and more people get to discover you, are already like reacting to your music, saying how your music is helping them with their hard times and their struggles. Is that it? I'm sure it's a mind fuck at first, but is that a very gratifying full circle moment that you're like, you know, I've lived with this shit for my entire life, but now it's helping other people?
Yeah, it is. It's therapeutic to write that shit. I'm never a guy that's been able to talk to a counselor, and I you know, survived a lot of bad memories as a child in an abusive home. And like with Devil, you know, it's like they take that and spin that how they want to be therapeutic in their own right. You know, hey, I was addicted to drugs, or I was in a, you know, abusive relationship with a spouse. And to me, it stems from child abuse, from my personal experience. But to have people make it their own, it's therapeutic to write it, and then it's therapeutic to hear that it's helping other people. So that's definitely, that's what it's all about, right? Like, I want the lyrics to be real and honest, and I think that honesty comes through in this record, where people can sit there and be like, oh, this guy survived some messed up shit, maybe I can do it too. So that's definitely a very rewarding part of the job.
Yeah. This is a question that I've asked a few artists over the last, you know, years, who wrote about extremely personal stuff, and negativity in their lives. You say it's therapeutic to write these songs, and it's therapeutic to see how other people, you know, make it their own and be helped by that. Is it also, because I do get very different answers on this question, is it also therapeutic to play this over and over, or is it tough playing these songs that you have to go back to that dark time, or does it get better every time you play it live? What's that for you?
Depends on the day. If I had enough sleep, I'm usually pretty good at selling it. I mean, I've been playing the Day by Day song, which when you sing the words about your dad dying right off the beginning, it's, you know, you gotta, I've had some moments where I didn't cry on stage, but I like think about the words. And again, if I'm tired, I'm in a different mental state than if I'm fully rested. And when I sing that, but also there's the emotions of like when we play Devil You Know and hearing a crowd sing that back to me for the first time, because that was my first, you know, top 5 Billboard hit. It's pretty wild seeing him sing it back. And then you kind of think about, you know, this has been a long journey for me from the time I was like 6, like fighting to play music. I used to get my guitars taken away and broke, and when I was a kid, and then going to Nashville, it gave me the toolbox I needed because I fought so hard already to be able to do this for a living. So when record executives told me I wasn't any good, it's kind of like, well, whatever, I've heard that my whole life. So I was kind of equipped for it. But then when you start having success, it kind of weighs on your soul of like, oh man, I'm doing it. I'm finally doing it. When I thought I was all coming to an end, it hit. you know? And so there's that overwhelming, but you also know you have a lot more work to do. But the work never scared me. But yeah, the success stuff is interesting. But yeah, singing the lyrics can get to me sometimes. A Day by Day song is pretty brutally honest, you know?
Yeah.
Could be the one I never had or wind up dead like my old man, you know? Opening the song like that is like, huh, if I think about it when I'm singing, I'm like, yikes.
With this newfound comfort to be yourself and to write more music that feels more true maybe to you, should we then also expect that now that you're going on, you know, all these tours, you've been on tour obviously already, but you know, going on road with Bush, as you already said, and much more to follow, people going to your show, what should they expect? Is it going to be predominantly the new stuff then? Is this the start of a new era for Tim Montana?
Yeah, the only old stuff we really have worked in is mostly Stoned. If we do it in the 30-minute sets, you know, when you're an opener, you get 30 minutes. And I love storytelling, and that's been a problem for me, is when I start talking on the mic, I'll say whatever, uncensored. It's not, in the country world, that was a problem, because a couple times I said some stories that people were like, you can't say that, right? And I'm very honest and sometimes a little brash. But the 30-minute set's tough, because I like to tell my story, but it connects, man. I feel like it connects better in the rock space. I'm like, I grew up in a single-wide trailer house with no electricity, and I play guitar, and I always say, people ask if we were going green or saving the earth. It's this thing called poverty. You should try it once in your life to build some character. And that connects like you wouldn't believe. So people line up at the merch table to tell me their trailer house stories.
Right.
So to answer your question, the new set, especially with Bush and these guys, is going to be all the new stuff. And if I get a longer set, 75 or 90, like I have this weekend headlining in Montana, the state of Montana has been good to me. So we've got a really big following up here. Then I'll elaborate more on those stories. But it's also funny because I'm always the salesman for the state of Montana. So when I play in Montana, I'm like, oh, I got to rethink everything I say. I don't need to sell these people on what the place is. So my stage manager's like, yeah, so I'm from Butte. And they're like, we know. I'm like, shit, what can I say that they don't know?
Well, Tim, I wish you all the best with this release and this whole new direction for you, not just your career, but your life. And that's really exciting to see that you are feeling, you know, it feels that you're feeling very healthy in where you're at right now and who you are. And that's really cool to see. Can't wait to see you on a stage, hopefully very soon. Come to Toronto, man. We'd love to have you here.
I heard a rumor I'll be up there in January, so I can't say who, but it's rumored.
All right. We'll keep our eyes open and our fingers crossed. Tim, awesome. Have such a fantastic rest of the day. Don't get, trampled by bulls outside,
or attacked by a bear. It is pretty
the bovine variety or something else. I bet it is. I have been to Butte, Montana myself a long time ago.
No way.
Yeah. In 1992 or something like that.
Wow.
So I can. There you go. I was 8. I think we are very close. There you go. Well, but honestly, I really hope to see you, have that success, not just in the States, but, all over the world. And I'm sure that there's a ton of people in Europe and Latin America that can't wait to have you come play as well. So wish you all the best with that. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And have a fantastic rest of the day.
You do the same. Thank you so much.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.